We're just about 2 months from kickoff, and it's time to start previewing the 2024 season. So today, we're going to do something different, and we're going to take a look at the quarterbacks that Florida is going to face during the 2024 season. Now, no disrespect to Samford, but they didn't make our list, as we are just looking at the top 11 quarterbacks that we're going to face in 2024. But to make this fun, we have ranked them. So let's get it right. We're going to start with number 11 and move along to number 1. So number 11 is Blake Shapen. He is the quarterback for Mississippi State. He is transferring from Baylor. Okay, his 2023 stats. He was 184 of 298. He had a 61.7% completion average. 2,188 yards. That is an average of 7.3 yards a pass. 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. His QBR, 47.3. So he is the lowest QBR of all returning quarterbacks that Florida is going to face this fall. And his supporting staff at Mississippi State, not going to do him a ton of favors. Now, Shapen was a decent starter in the Big 12, but I think that there's a chance he struggles with the step up in competition in the SEC. So that is what landed him at number 11 on our list. Number 10 is Brock Vandagriff from Kentucky. Vandagriff transferred from Georgia to Kentucky this offseason, and honestly, nobody can blame him, right? He couldn't beat out Stetson Bennett or Carson Beck for the starting job, but considering that Bennett won 2 national championships and Beck is arguably the best returning quarterback in the SEC, I don't think there's any shame in that, right? Nobody is going to blame him. But with that said, we have seen almost nothing from Vandagriff so far. He has less than 20 attempts and less than 200 passing yards in his 3-year college career. So essentially, he finds himself at 10 instead of 11 because Georgia recruited him. So you get something there from me. Number 9 is KJ Jefferson. He will be the quarterback at UCF. Now, Florida is no stranger to KJ Jefferson. He transferred from Arkansas to UCF this past offseason, and Gus Malzahn has spoken really highly about him since he got there. In 2023 at Arkansas, he was 190 out of 296 attempts, 64.2% completion rating or percentage, 2,107 yards passing, 7.1 average, 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and his QBR rating was 51.1. He did not have the best year in 2023. In fact, he had one of the lowest QBRs in the SEC. However, he didn't need to pass much against Florida, and he terrorized the Gators defense on the ground last fall. So we can't get too cocky, right? But I will put Arkansas's offensive line up against UCF's. Number 8 is Conor Wegman. He is the quarterback at Texas A&M. He only played 4 games last season before he got injured against Auburn. His stats from 2023 are 82 of 119 passing attempts. That's a 68.9% completion percentage. 979 yards, 8.2 yards average throw, 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That makes his QBR rating 87.2. But again, his stats look impressive for only having played in 4 games, but they're also heavily padded because of his performances against New Mexico and ULM. Against Miami and Auburn last season, which is the only Power 5 competition he played against, he averaged only a 58% completion and 6.1 yards per attempt. And neither Miami or Auburn were very good football teams last year. Number 7, we have DJ Unga. I'm not saying that name again. Starting quarterback for FSU. After being left for dead after his first full year starting at Clemson, DJ had a little bit of a resurgence at Oregon State. In 2023, he was 180 for 315 attempts, 57.1%, 2,638 yards passing, 8.4 yards average, 21 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns, and an impressive 81.0 QBR. He now finds himself as the quarterback of the Florida State Seminoles. And listen, DJ is likely a pretty big step down from Jordan Travis, which obviously Jordan Travis is Jordan Travis. But if he is able to replicate or even build upon his performance from the 2023 season, he could end up being dangerous when we face them because we play him the last game of the season. He's got an entire 11 games to develop for that. Number 6 on this list is another one that's incredibly difficult to pronounce. Nico Mava. He is the quarterback for Tennessee. Another incredibly difficult one to pronounce. Mostly played backup time last year, but we did get to see him in the bowl game against Iowa. And you can only take so much from a bowl performance. But considering that he was a true freshman, he performed pretty well. He is a former 5-star and number 2 quarterback in the 2022 class behind Arch Manning. And expectations are sky high for Nico this season. And Josh Heupel's offense is going to give him every opportunity to deliver. So I expect a lot out of Nico this season. Number 5 is Garrett Nesm. He is the quarterback for LSU. This may be his first year starting, but Nesm has been in the system for multiple years now and should be very comfortable in his new starting role. And despite losing 3 first-round offensive talents to the NFL, Nesm is going to still have a very good supporting cast to help him get into a position to succeed. LSU is always dangerous. Number 4 is Cam Ward, quarterback for Miami. National expectations for Ward are very high, but results can be very unpredictable when quarterbacks are in their first year in a new system. In 2023, he was 323 completions out of 485 attempts, 66.6% completion rating. 3,735 yards passing, 7.7 yard average per pass, and 25 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. That gives him a QBR of 65.2. Miami's fate this season largely rests on how good Cam can be. Fortunately, the Gators are playing Miami in the first game of the season. This is a huge advantage for the Gators. They're going to have Graham Mertz, who is comfortable in this system, who is comfortable in this stadium. And that's going to be huge. Cam Ward is going to get a baptism by fire in the swamp. And hopefully the Gators can take advantage of the lack of familiarity and cause some havoc in that first game. Number 3 on our list is Jackson Dart, the quarterback for OSU. In 2023, he was 233 of 358, 65.1% completion percentage, 3,364 yards, 9.4 yards average per pass, 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. That's a QBR rating of 78.5. Dart got off to kind of a slow start at Ole Miss, but he has improved each season under Lane Kiffin, and he's got a ton of weapons to throw to this year. Lane Kiffin, he can coach up some quarterbacks. So this is a guy that I'm really going to keep my eye on this entire season because I expect him to continue to progress as the season goes on. Number 2 on our list is Quinn ERS from Texas. He has proven himself to be a very good quarterback, and he's going to be in the Heisman conversation all year long. The interesting thing about yours is going to be if those 2023 stats, which 272 out of 394 attempts, 69% completion, 3,479 yards, 8.8 average per throw, 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. That is a 78.3 QBR. Now, will those numbers hold when he's playing SEC competition week in and week out? That is going to be the interesting thing to watch. But Ewers is definitely going to be on a lot of Heisman watch lists, and he's probably going to stay there most of the season. Number 1 quarterback on this list has got to be Georgia's Carson Beck. In 2023, he was 302 out of 417 completions, 72.4%, 3,941 yards. That is an average of 9.5 yards per pass, 24 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and an 86.0 QBR rating. Beck is expected to be one of the best quarterbacks, not just in the SEC, but in the nation this year. And he is at the very tippy top of many people's Heisman boards. With all the talent that is going to surround him at Georgia, Beck has the potential to be lethal in the pocket in 2024. Now listen, I am really hoping that Florida's defense is clicking on all cylinders by the time we play them, but Carson Beck is a threat no matter who they play, and the Gators are going to have a hard time containing him because he is just that good. All right, guys, that is the top quarterbacks that Florida is going to face this season. We ranked them 11-1. Apologies to Samford. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? I want to talk about it in the comments. So comment below. Tell me who the toughest quarterback that Florida is going to face this season. Tell me, is this list right? Am I off? Is there somebody that I'm, ranking too low or sleeping on? Let me know. Let's talk about it. Thank you guys for tuning in. And as always, go Gators.